Welcome back to another episode of Hot Take. I'm Terry Flewers, joined by the brilliant Mark Goldbridge. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Another good win for Manchester United. Another shit transfer window for Manchester United. The up and down life of Manchester United. Short-term happiness, long-term, I don't know. But at least, I'll tell you what, in fairness, I think I've seen one of the worst refereeing decisions of the season, and no one's talking about it because it happened to Man City. I can't believe that wasn't given as a foul. And look, we can laugh at it because I wanted the goal to be given, but bloody hell, if that had happened to Arsenal, United, Liverpool, I think we'd have been in meltdown, because that was incredible.
I was in exactly your frame of mind after the game. I went, he's kicked the back of his leg. It's definitely a penalty. But there's another angle that shows that the standing leg that Solanke kicks before, so the angle that we've all seen is if we're looking from Spurs' goal direction towards theirs. The opposite side, Gallagher stands on the ankle and foot of Solanke before he gets kicked in the back of the leg. So if you actually microanalyze it, Mark, we can both say City weren't robbed. It's we can find a reason. But no, I do hear you. But it was quite nice to watch the mentality monsters cry about referees and their fan base.
I loved the game. I loved the result.
Yeah, after they spent the past 5 years telling Arsenal fans to not make any excuses about referees. That's the bit I found funny. But in all seriousness, refereeing, as we know, is crazy. I mean, even the Man United one, have you watched the Maguire one back?
Which one's this? The
penalty we conceded?
Well, I think it is a penalty, that.
But have you watched it back?
No.
Yep.
Well, I saw the 4 or 5 replays at the game.
Yeah, I watched it and I was just like, oh yeah, penalty. Like, he takes him out. Now, normally though, after the shot's been given, they don't give the penalty. There's no retrospective punishment. Isak had his leg broke, like by a late tackle, and that would be a red card at any other point in the game. It would be endangering an opponent, but it's not there, so I don't understand that element. But Jimenez steps on Maguire's leg. Maguire doesn't take his leg out. So for me, there's an element. This is my view. I get it's a penalty, and I'd want the penalty if it was my player. I guarantee you, if it was the other way around, they would say no, it was a coming together because the attacker stepped on Maguire's leg. That maybe I'm being a bit conspiratorial with it, but I feel we don't get that penalty.
I think when he blows his whistle, I know it's a penalty. If he doesn't blow his whistle, it's not a penalty. It was one of them for me. It's like, as soon as the referee blows his whistle, I'm like, that's not getting overturned, because look at what Maguire does. But if he doesn't give the penalty, I'd go, well, he's got the shot off already. It's not a FIFA. So I think it could have gone both ways. But in fairness, look, I've got a lot of respect for Fulham. I thought they played so well against us. We had the better players to win the game. And I thought it was a great game and we deserved to win it. But massive respect to Fulham. And I think we can come out of that game and be fair and say things that we're about to say and have said. I don't know why the free kick we scored from was a free kick. Like, the referee gave a penalty because he thought the player had took Cunha down in the box, and he didn't. And then VAR went, no, he didn't, but he did pull his shirt before the box, so we'll give a free kick to that. That wasn't what that was about. So I understood what Marco Silva was on about. It was almost like they went, well, you got the penalty wrong, but he does pull his shirt a little bit before, so we'll give a free kick for that. It really should have just been a corner, which we might have scored from as well.
It depends, though. It depends. What the referees are saying is that they didn't give it for the tackle. It was given because the referee believed the shirt pull continued into the box. So the audio will clear it all up. We'll then know. And if the referee has
he gave it because of the tackle, not the pull.
Well, we'll know when the audio comes out. And I think for me, if they are to lie in real time and the audio shows they gave it for the tackle and then retrospectively gave a free kick, that's wrong because you can't do that. There's no recourse. The only time you can do it is if you're factually incorrect, which is you give, whether it's a tackle or a shirt pull, if you give it but it's actually outside the box and you give a penalty, you can then give the free kick. That's happened many times. So the audio is going to be an interesting one for me. I think the commentators threw us because the commentators are talking about the tackle and not at any point were they really talking about the shirt pull. But listen, there was a few in that game that I felt were interesting. That is certainly one. I can't wait to hear the audio on. I would love to challenge Howard Webb on our penalty because when Isak's leg was broken and I said I still think it should be a yellow card, a red card for the defender, I was met with, Terry, will you expect defenders to not put last-ditch tackles in?
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
no.
what I mean, though. You're right. I remember you saying that, and I said I didn't think it was a foul because ultimately he's trying to win the ball. He's trying. It's a genuine attempt to win the ball, and it's the same with Maguire, which is why if it hadn't been given, I'd have said, well, he's got the shot off. The tackle's gone in late. But as soon as he blew his whistle, I know you're not going to get it overturned because he's given it because of that. So,
no, I agree. I think
it's an inconsistent area.
It's always, that's why I like talking to you about it, because we see things differently, and it's always good to thrash these things out. Because for me, that's what the time on mic'd up should be with Howard Webb, is saying, right, you said this before, play him his clip. Why is this different? To see whether one, they're bullshitting and making it up as they go along, which I think you and I agree they do, or two, what are the difference in the different nuances that you look for to help educate us as fans and to why they're different in that regard. And equally, the next time I see a player, this weekend have a shot and then get caught afterwards, I want to see penalties given. And if they're not,
and they won't. Then look at that. Like, it's literally the last thing of the game, isn't it? Todibo gets sent off for West Ham for grabbing someone's neck, and I'm sort of like, hold on a minute, right? People go, well, Casemiro got sent off 3 years ago for it. Well, he did. But this is the last action of the game. You're now going to put West Ham's best centre-back out for 3 games for something he did in the last 10 seconds. And Semenyo did it in the first half against United and played the whole game, and we drew that game.
And nothing happened.
And nothing happened. So where's the... but no one talks about that because they go, oh, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm sort of like, well, common sense. What was the game? Was it Man City recently where they were playing somebody, they're running through one-on-one, and he fouled him, and he should have been a red card, but it was last action of the game, so he sort of went yellow card.
Yeah, that was I think, I want to say that's when they played Tottenham last.
Yeah, it might have been. It
might have been the Tottenham game earlier on in the season, and he pulls him back. It would have been a red, and they just basically let it go. David here says Maguire played well at the weekend, but he's consistently making up for his positional errors with last-ditch lunges. I mean, look, the penalty wasn't anything to do with Maguire's positioning. It's because United pressed and got bypassed because Fulham are a good team, and Dalot was caught out of position. If Dalot had stayed with his man, Maguire wouldn't have had to. Maguire made that lunging tackle because he had to step into the right back's area. I think to blame Maguire's positioning for the press being passed through, which Fulham do to a lot of people made a big deal about that. Oh my God, the press got passed through. Fulham pass through most teams' presses and have done for 2 or 3 seasons. And it's like when you play Brighton. When you play Brighton, if you ever create this mental process in your mind of, if we can see chances, we've had a bad game. When you play teams like Brighton and Fulham, I think you're a moron to think like that, because those teams typically create chances against every single team they play. They open up nearly every single team they play because they position a lot of men behind your midfield. They take a risk. They allow you to attack them by doing that. But if they thread a ball through, they're facing your defense. And that's why I like playing. That's why I like watching those teams, because they take those risks. They help to make the games more entertaining. Typically, the only 2 teams those guys haven't done it to this year has been Arsenal, where they've sat 11 men behind the ball. But there we go. I wanted to ask you about the United warning as well, part of our title today, from David Ornstein, who has basically said, don't expect a crazy summer. And I wanted to get your interpretation of what not having a crazy summer looks like, because I've seen a lot of reactions online to it. And my first thought was, what does crazy even mean? I wanted to get your take on that overall view from Mr. Ornstein.
I think a crazy summer is the summer that is ambitious. It's the summer that Arsenal did last year. It's the summer that Chelsea do. It's the summer that Liverpool did. It's where you go and you solve the 4 or 5 key first team problems, and also probably bring a couple of squad players in for the Champions League, because ultimately next season, if United get Champions League football, which we should, we will be Newcastle if we don't build the squad out, because we won't be able to deal with the volume of games in the Premier League and the Champions League. So a crazy summer for United is $500 million, isn't it? A normal summer, or a lower level summer, will be £200 million, which will get you 3 players. And that won't be enough. So I don't think David Ornstein's saying United won't buy players, but I think he's saying the crazy summer is probably a little bit premature, which is the club's fault, because the club have spent all of January talking about a crazy summer. Man United fans haven't made. What I'm trying to say, Terry, is there's no Man United fan who's been a Man United fan for the last 5 years would start talking about a crazy summer. We wouldn't. We'd be like, probably a shit summer because it's the Glazers. So they've put it out there, but it's the classic plan, isn't it? They needed to get through January without buying. I mean, this is the worst January transfer window we've had in years because there's not even a loan deal. There's not even a sale. There's not even a loan out. So it's the worst January transfer window we've had in years. And they've had to get through those days. And to get through those days, they've projected, leaked, and lied about crazy summers. And what David Ornstein's saying is that now that's closed, I just want to say that might not be the case. And what we'll get over the next few months is FFP, PSR to just lower the expectations, because they'll lower the expectations and then spend. So it'll be about 200 million, I think.
But that's why, listen, I think from my perspective, that's why I feel the conversation about what crazy looks like. Liverpool summer last year was crazy. They spent £416 million. That being said, they didn't spend a single penny the year before. So there is that element of that's 2 years worth of money. It was Arsenal's biggest summer ever last year. Crazy summer. That was £254 million that they spent last year. And that was considered a crazy summer. Man United last summer spent 216 million. So we only spent 35 million less last year than Arsenal's biggest ever summer. So this is why I'm interested to know what people think, because I still think we'll do 200 to 250 million pound this summer if we're in the Champions League. But I wouldn't call that crazy. I think that's just normal now for the big clubs. Sorry?
It's quantity though, isn't it? Because it's not always about what you spend, because a stupid club could spend 100 million pounds on a crap player. Someone could spend 250 million pounds and bring 8 players in that they need. And I think I've seen a lot of United fans say this. It's not necessarily about the value of the player. You might get a really good player who's like 1 year left on his contract, or you might spend 100 million pounds on Diamonde, who's a 20-year-old left winger.
No,
quantity
I
is
agree.
important.
No, I totally agree. At the same time, then that means if we go out and drop 15 millions on Mascaras and 11 millions on Norgards, that's how you do that. But the problem I have is that I know what United fans will do. They'll then just moan they're not of high enough quality. And I think that the one thing, we did this exercise on the United stand on Friday, and we got the audience to say hit, miss, or question mark over the signings over the last 2 years. And your audience come back with about 72% they think are kind of hits. And what I think is encouraging about that is that there's been a number of those signings. For instance, we need some more Mazwaris, who are 15 million euros. What is that? About 11 million pounds. But they've been a success. And that is the mixture of what we need this summer. We do need a Belieber, and we do need Elliot Andersons. But, I mean, even Dorgu now, with the way he's looking in an attacking role at 30 million euros, if he continues to grow like that, actually looks like a little bit of a snip. This is where I agree with you 100%. We need that mixture. You need the Mazes at 15 million euros, or about 11 million pounds. You need the Dorgus at 25 millions, who come in and have this really big impact, as well as 2 or 3 marquee signings. Because if you're just going for 80, 90 million pound players, you're only going to get 3 maximum. And I agree with you. We need a bigger squad than that. So, but equally at the same time, we have a percentage of our fan base, as you know, that everything is like a knee-jerk reaction. And it has, I mean, I saw it yesterday morning when the Tonali news first broke. The amount of DMs I got, I told you there was top-class midfielders available. I went, is there? Oh, look, Arsenal are getting Tonali. Within 30 minutes of them DMing me, shut down. Arsenal didn't make any approach. Club said not for sale. The agent tried to sell him. So I'm just like, sometimes I think we need to relax a little bit. We need to put pressure on our owners, but we don't always need to have a sort of absolute spaz out the second there's like Arsenal might get Tonali. That isn't a cue, I think, for me to start going, right, I'm going to burn my club down. 1, the deal didn't happen. And 2, it was rejected like all the other top midfielders this January, just not for sale. So, yeah, I'm intrigued.
I do think, and we've had this conversation before, I do think to ignore the transfer window is not strategic. It's not good planning. It's gambling, because we've seen with Villa, their Kamara, Tillemans and McGinn injuries in the space of a week and a half have decimated their midfield for the next 3 months. And if we lose Casemiro, then I think we probably lose Champions League football. So regardless of whether your big signings are available in the summer, we all know there was numerous deals that could be done that if Casemiro gets injured, you have got that covered off. We don't have it covered off. and it's a huge risk, and that's not how to run a football club. Now, I would have gone for Conor Gallagher. I thought he was brilliant against Manchester City, but you're going to have to spend £40 million, so maybe you don't want to do that. You could go for Ruben Neves and spend half of that, but they didn't want to do that. But there would have been multiple loan deals they could have done that just would have squared it off, just would have covered it off. I was at the point where I would have done the Ndidi deal yesterday, because I would have gone, at least if I'm embarrassed, but at least if Casemiro gets injured, you can play somebody there who has got experience in the Premier League. And he might not be great, but it's better than nothing. And that's where my issue is. It's not about long term. It's about they're gambling. And
so there is
don't gamble.
There is a gambling element to it. With the Ndidi deal, that was one last minute I would have taken, because I was talking to Ben about this, and it would only have cost us a couple of £1 million. My issue was more bringing Ruben Neves in for 6 months on 400 grand a week, costing us tens of millions. That eats into what we know is that we know it's a limited budget. Rightly or wrongly, it's there. It isn't going anywhere. So I don't want us to just waste it. And there's a comment here from David that says, but you said not to sign Gallagher and save for the best. No, I agree. He says, but now you want a mixture. Yes. I think Mazwari is a better right back than Gallagher is a central midfield player. I think Maz is a higher level of player than Gallagher is, respective of their positions. I look at Dorgu, and I wasn't very happy with the signing with him at fullback. Since he's moved, and in fairness to Amorim first moved him into an attacking role. He looks a completely different player. So I look at it and go, you don't just, I'd rather, so Dorgu is cheap in comparison to a lot of the other wingers that are currently touted around the world at 70, 80 plus £1 million. So if you can find a gem who's really good, great. But the difference is there, David, that you're ignoring, is none of us knew about Dorgu. I know about Conor Gallagher, right? Well, yeah, Goldbridge did. Goldbridge knows everything.
I did in the career mode 2 years before we bought him.
There we go. FIFA settings. But for me, I know Gallagher and I know what he's capable of. And he runs a lot. He had a good cross at the weekend for the Solanke goal. But at the overall cost of that deal, I think the club can find better. But at no point did I say that we shouldn't look for quality players at a bargain price. That's never left my mouth. It's called an intellectual and deep conversation, David. Try it sometime, brother.
There's a question, but this is where I get confused, and it happens on the United standards as well. I understand what you're saying with David there, but United standards says no standards and Ndidi Gallagher. I'm like, hold on a minute. So you're now talking to me about standards? Okay, is this the standards of a football club that's not qualified for the Champions League in 50% of the last 12 years? What standards are you talking about? What is Declan Rice your standard, is it? Well, that's my standard as well, mate. But we don't live to those standards because they're dictated to by the ownership. So what standards? Most Man United fans' standards are for us to win the Premier League or the Champions League. But we don't control the standards. The club does. So you have to live in the real world where we don't control the standards. And, you know, I look at Conor Gallagher, and I'm in the minority, but I look at Man United and I look at what he did at the weekend, and I look at what he'll probably do at the weekend against us. And I go, would he improve our midfield at the moment? Yes. And would I spend the money on him? Yes. Because when you look at the summer, Casemiro's gone, Agate's gone, he's never coming back. So my midfield, and Bruno, we don't know. So my midfield next season is Bruno and Mainu. That's it. Bruno and Mainu is my midfield next season as things stand. All right, Baleba, great. I've got a midfield 3. Elliot Anderson, I've got a sub. Still need another one. I actually need 3. We're hoping we're going to get 2. We actually need 3. Mainu, if Bruno stays, and Agate's not going to be here, and Casemiro's not going to be here. So we need 3. So I would have gone, Conor Gallagher in a midfield 5 of options is actually a really decent player to have. Baleba, Anderson or Still or whatever. I need 3. So it disappoints me that we haven't even looked at the fact that the player that we could have brought in January that wouldn't have been the marquee midfielder, because you get those 2 in the summer, but we could have brought the rotational player, the Conor Gallagher, the Ruben Neves, that gives you 2 or 3 years in and around and they're going to play. You know, we're in the Champions League hopefully next year. We've got the Premier League, the Carabao Cup. They're going to come on for 20 minutes here and there. 5 midfielders for 3 spots still isn't that much cover. Look at Villa. So I just think long term we could have done something for the 3rd choice midfielder, but short term, you talk about standards. You're telling me you don't want Ndidi if Casemiro and Mainu get injured. Well, I'll take Ndiddy's brother if he's got one. I take like it's this is what I mean. There are actually people out there, Terry, that would gamble on nothing because they think Ndiddy's below them, and I'm like, mate, when you've got nothing, if you're in a fight and you want an AK-47 and someone hands you a pistol, nah, forget it. I'll take it. You grab it and you start shooting, don't you? Like it's it's ridiculous in my mind.
So I said all along, short-term, low-cost options I would go for, but then we also have to look at the reality of the situation. We were never going to get Gallagher because Tottenham then went in and offered to buy instantly. So any loan would have been off the table. And this is where I look at the reality of a situation. If we'd have done a loan deal where we're paying 50% of his wages and it was a total cost of about £5 million for the last 6 months of the season, I would have looked at it and gone, fair enough. I'm not going to cry my eyes out over it. But Villa were trying to do something along those lines. And then Spurs came along, offered £35 million up front, matched his wages and put him on a 5-year deal with a total investment of £80 million. That would have happened if we went in for him as well. Now, maybe he would have said, I'm going to go on loan at Man United and weigh my options up in the summer because we're a bigger club than Tottenham. But equally, we might have missed out on him altogether. And that's when you get in the realms of...
I think Conor Gallagher represents probably 6 or 7 players as well that you could have done that. Conor Gallagher is a name, but it represents like João Gomez, it represents Manu Kone, it probably represents maybe 10 players.
I understand that, but again, João Gomez, Wolves have consistently said is not for sale. It was clear to me that Ruben Neves was just angling for a new deal because he's going to be doing a new one in Saudi and he's going to be put on 400k a week. So again, there's no way we should be paying that kind of money for him. So I look at these things on a slightly different way. But the bottom line is you'd rather do something than nothing anyway. Yeah, I'd rather do something that's sensible. I don't want to panic buy, though. I don't want to fill the squad full of average players on too much money because I think that's been, there's a comment that someone put in here earlier saying, Terry, sometimes you just need like a crap car to get to work. See, I'm the opposite. My dad taught me that cheap is expensive, and that crap car that gets you to work could break down 10 times before you save up for a new car.
Not if you're giving it back in the summer, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's what I said. A very low cost short-term deal I would have gone for. The problem is a lot of these deals weren't like that. There was obligations that clubs wanted on the back of it. To 300 grand a week salaries for the Gomez's. So I wouldn't have done those personally. If you leave it till the last week of the window, we've known about this for 5 months. We should have had this lined up on January the 1st. For who?
Well, I'm not an agent, but what I'm saying is I know somebody who is an agent, and I know 3 players that nearly signed for certain Premier League clubs yesterday that fell through because of wage demands. Unfortunately, none of them were United players, but some of them were really interesting. So if you're in that world, I'm telling you now, it wasn't that hard to get a midfielder in January. And it wasn't, and it was quite a big pool as well. And if you've got a bit of money, the pool gets even bigger. You can't sit there and say, it's not United's fault they did fuck all in the January transfer window. It is.
I'm not. I'm not
saying
a
bad director of football.
I'm not saying it's not United's fault. I'm saying most of the names that were linked to us, I'd rather play an academy kid. If I'm being honest with you, I just don't think they were good enough, and I don't want to go down the roads of panic buying crap. Douglas Luiz, yeah, I would have taken. That would have been a deal I would have gone for and taken. I think he's a decent enough player, although he couldn't get into the Forest team. No, again, Douglas Luiz, I would have been happy for a short-term loan deal for a player like that. I wouldn't have said no to it. Absolutely not. Moving on from the what Carrick has done in 3 weeks is amazing. Couldn't agree more. Fantastic 3 weeks. Hopefully 4 in a row this weekend with another victory. It'd be great to see. My favourite part is all the people that started to believe the gaslighting that Manu weren't good enough. It's my favourite bit, watching them try and backtrack. Actually, each week watching the Glazerites and the Amrim fanboys kind of try to downplay what we're doing. And who said this to me? It was David in the chat said, actually, this is what he said. He went, Amrin playing everyone out of position and badly for 12 months has made them all better players. That's why we're winning now.
But I also think that people forget that Ruben Amrim didn't get sacked for results. He got sacked because he fell out with Jason Wilcox over transfers.
But we were playing badly, though. We were playing terribly, though.
I also think that Fulham at the weekend was just so similar to Amrim football. Like, it was like, the reason Carrick is slightly getting results is because he's playing the players the way they want to play. And Amrim was trying to build something that they didn't really understand. And Carrick's took them back to the way they want to play. It's so short-termism. It's like the supply teacher. But that's why we're winning games. But how many games did we draw like Fulham? We didn't lose, we drew. We did create loads of chances under Amrin, but we made silly mistakes at the back. He did go a little bit defensive, like West Ham, which was stupid. He put Bruno in the midfield, which was stupid. But we still were ridiculously creative and ridiculously energetic. So I don't look, we do need to move on from Amrin, but I also do not agree. I've seen a lot of people putting a lot of good tweets out about a lot of things that have changed because of Ruben Amrin. Foundations. Maybe he said himself, maybe he'd be the guy before the guy. And maybe time will be kind.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree. I don't think Ruben did anything bad. I think David said something in the chat that's very true. I think it's the fittest I've seen our squad, and they did a great fitness program in the summer, something I praised then and I'll praise now. But I don't just think it's Amrin that's helped fit the culture. I think everybody involved in this rebuild has helped make that dressing room a better place. The bomb squad that went, Amrin was part of that, but again, helped orchestrate by him and his bosses. And the one thing I hope is that all of that stuff was fixed, but we just weren't seeing the fruits of that labor because Amrin was doing such a bad job as a coach. And
I don't think this is sustainable with Carrick.
Oh, no. Well, winning every game. This is one thing I guarantee you. Pep, one of the greatest managers of all time, still doesn't win 35% of his games. So it's never sustainable to be 100% win ratio. We are going to lose games. And the squad still needs massive investment over the next few years. I completely agree.
I think you win. I think you will win all the way until I think we'll beat Spurs. I think we'll beat West Ham. And I think we'll beat Everton. I can see him winning 6 in a row. I think that we saw against Fulham, we will drop points. Like we will. And that's not a bad thing. But I think if it just look, I don't care how we win. I don't care how we win. I just think that what we've got here is a manager that's keeping things really simple and basically playing the way the players want. And I saw some comments about Harry Maguire. I like Harry Maguire, but he is limited. He can be got at. Martinez actually can be got at, if we want to say that, because I love Martinez. Casemiro can be got there. They have weaknesses, but at the moment, I just think we're keeping everything simple. And you've got players like, look, we win that game at the weekend because of Bruno and Cunha, and they didn't necessarily have the best games, but they're match winners, like 2 assists and we've got the players to win games, and I think that's the big thing as well.
No, I don't disagree, but Bruno is now being played in that attacking role, which is why he's starting to influence the game so much more. And I won't. He
was getting assists in the midfield. I hated him in the midfield.
Yeah, but most of his open play assists have come in the last, not just under Carrick.
He's a 10. He's 100%.
But it's the even with under Amorim. So if you look at like Cunha's goal numbers going up, if you look at Bruno's open play assist numbers going up, all of that started when we started when we stopped doing 3 at the back. And for about 4 or 5 games towards the end of Amorim's time, it was either in possession with changed shape or we started in a different shape. We saw an improvement in that area because people are in their natural positions. And that's the difference for me. And the one mistake Carrick made at the weekend, which I called out in real time and afterwards, is when it went 2-1, we went too negative. We sat too deep and we invited them on. As soon as it went 2-2, the great thing Carrick and the team did is they went, well, we've got to attack again now. And it left players behind. And
what
for me,
Fulham do at that, you can see that. I mean, it's amazing to win, but I watched it back yesterday. Fulham tried to win. Like, you know how much space there is for us to score that Sesko goal. They've got an equaliser. They should have 11 men behind the ball, but they actually.
But they went to win.
They tried to win it.
But this is what happens in football. This is the crazy bit for me. I think Man United going defensive at 2-1 was wrong. I wanted to see him open up, but you can concede, but we could have opened up and then got caught on the counter attack and conceded. Everyone says that's wrong, but I would rather concede whilst trying to win than the way we did.
That's what I mean. Like, fair play to Fulham and fair play to us. Both teams at 2-2, even though you're 5 minutes into, was it 8 minutes or 9 minutes? Both teams tried to win, and that's why we ended up with Bruno in acres of space and Sesko had a bit of space, and I think their defenders slipped. But if their midfielders are where they are, that doesn't happen. It's brilliant end to a game. I thought it was a really good game of football, and there was mistakes in it, but for both teams. But I thought it was a brilliant game, and all I said afterwards was that's why Fulham are Fulham, and that's why Man United are Man United, because Fulham do not have a Sesko off the bench, and they don't have a Cunha, and they don't have a Bruno. And if they did, it might have been 3-2 to Fulham, but that's why we buy. This is why. But this is it at the end of the day.
And I think football's been overcomplicated in recent years. It is a simple game. And you need to be compact and hard to beat. Work your backsides off. pressure team at the right times, sit in at the right times. But then the difference is game changer. The Man United fans were one of the biggest causes for this, and it happened under Rory. And it was this whole moments FC. Fuck off. Football is about moments. You need more of them and not less. The reason that most teams win games isn't because the system might stop them conceding and makes them hard to break down. But the reason they win the games and they score the goals, it's nearly always individual moments of brilliance. A deep line playmaker like a Carrick breaking 2 lines of a pass, a Giggs twining through 3 players and crossing it, Beckham with an early cross, Ronaldo with his magic. There's nearly always an element of brilliance within it. And that's why it's one of the reasons why City is second this season and not 6th. System-wise, it's poor. They're opened up in every game. But when you've got a Donnarumma in goal, oh yeah. When you've got a Donnarumma in goal, a Shirky in creatively in midfield, and a goal scorer like Haaland, you will always have enough firepower in those areas to win a lot of games still. And that's why money is an important part of football, because it buys you the quality that can change a game. But systematically right now, City are as bad as any. City systematically, defensively, I'm talking, are as bad as any team in the league, because even Exeter, I went back and counted, Exeter had 6 counter-attack opportunities. It's just their final ball, their crosses were awful. And that was with a strong City team. 6 times Exeter broke their lines and got in behind. It's ridiculous.
I think Moments FC as well, in defense of that, because I've said it, I think Moments FC is sometimes under Ollie was you sit in part of the bus, it's really fucking boring, and then you know, somebody produces a goal out of nothing. I remember a game against Wolves, I think Rashford did it, and everyone was moaning, and then we scored and everyone was happy, because obviously you're happy when you win. I don't feel like we've been Moments FC in any of these games.
No.
We played our part in it, because I always say performance, results, vision. Well, we're not going to have a vision with an interim manager, because there can't be a vision. We don't know what it is. I think at times under Amorim, we didn't get the performance. The vision was hard to see. But we were getting results. But I think with Carrick, we are getting results and we are getting entertained. Every one of these games has been entertaining. I don't mind winning a game 3-2 against a good team. If Fulham was shit and we won like that, I'd be like, oh, you know, it's a bit lucky. But Fulham played really well. So we've just beat a really good team who's in the top half of the table 3-2 in an entertaining game.
It would have got. I think they would have gone above us or 1 point behind us if they'd have won. They are a good team. But in terms of the Moment FC element, I agree. We've been a much better and stable team in these last 3 games. But it was I got what people meant, which is all we have is the moments. But then what we started doing, and this is the context that should never be removed, we started belittling the moments, people. The Brunos and the Rashfords became the targets, although they were the guys giving us the moments. And it's a case of, yes, fix the system, make the system better, but don't remove the moments. The moments are important. It was almost as if people were annoyed the moments were happening, where I want more of those moments alongside a stronger system. And maybe it's because I'm just more of a positive person than some of these people. And I never look at it through if someone in your business, Mark, is doing something good, but lots of things around it are bad, you don't stop the good bit. You keep the good bit and you fix the bad bits. And I always feel that Man United, a lot of United fans online project things the other way. And Bruno used to get more stick than anybody. And he was one of the only guys that was delivering. And then what you'd get is, but it's because he does the hero balls that the system breaks down. And it got taken so out of context. It was crazy. But moving on from Man United, because we've got a few more clips to get through. And thank you, Rob. I know I'm cute. I know. I'm a bit overweight, but I am still very cute, Rob. I know. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that a lot. I want to play a clip. What one am I going to go to? Some of them are funny. We'll have a bit of fun next, right? I'm going to play this clip. You're not going to be on the screen when I move over. You are now. But this is, I don't know if you've seen this. This is about Rory Jennings. Let's take a look. Your mate.
On the Rory Jennings YouTube channel, discussing why I believe Raheem Sterling should sign for Bayern Munich. And just have a listen to Rory's reaction.
Bayern Munich. Link up with company.
He's not really going for it, is he? Well, 3 hours later, I made this TikTok. And then at the very same time, live on TalkSport, here's Rory having a brainwave of where he thinks Raheem Sterling should go.
Player. Could he go to Wrexham?
No chance. No way. He's brand. He's just too big.
He needs a weaker league. He needs a massive club in a weaker league.
That's the thing. That's what I'm asked. That's what
he needs. Bayern Munich. Go and play for Bayern Munich.
Luis Diaz.
Yeah, but be the backup to Diaz. So you go and you contribute. He will burn it up when he's playing against Stuttgart. The link up with Kane. Oh my God, I've cracked it. The link up with Harry Kane.
You cracked it. Let's get on the
Vincent Company as well. I've actually cracked it.
Honestly, can't even hate. I love him.
Yeah, you know what I think it is with Rory? I actually was doing some content with Rory yesterday and a few other people, and it was like either or, which is surprising that I got asked to do an either or, being as either or something I've been doing for fucking years. But anyway, I was taking the piss out of him because I said, like, I'll call him Rory the Tory now. I'll slag him off now, and like, but to his face, we get on okay. So I said, look, if I slag you off publicly, it probably means that I don't mind you, and he's fine. So I think he just does too much, Rory. He's here, he's there, he's opening this, he's opening a Sainsbury's, he's up on the overlap, he's on the talk sport, he's doing this, that. I think his brain is probably just all over the place. He forgets what he thinks, and he probably thought in his head that JCC is a voice that he'd come up with that idea. So I think he's just he needs to slow down a little bit, Rory, because I think he's just doing too much content. But Raheem Sterling to Bayern Munich. It's funny. I know where Raheem Sterling nearly went yesterday, and I don't think I can say because I'll get into big trouble. But he nearly went somewhere yesterday in the Premier League, and it would have been an interesting move. It's not like top 6, and it's not relegation, so that narrows it down. But I think it was something to do with contract length or wages. I can't remember what it was. So you know what? Look at Nicholas Jackson at Bayern Munich. He's a decent backup to Harry Kane. He's not a very good player. So Raheem Sterling as a backup player for somebody like Bayern Munich, with all due respect, I do the Bundesliga, and it's not, the bottom half of the table is not as strong as the bottom half of the table in the Prem. So he could do quite well. But I don't know. I mean, Raheem Sterling was one of the best players in the league when he was at Man City and Liverpool and playing for England. He was a very, very good player, but I don't know whether he's just one of those players where it's injury or it's the passion's gone out, because I don't think he's ever going to be that player again. So I don't know where you go. He's probably better off going abroad, to be fair. I don't think the Premier League's the place for him.
Sorry, I said a message from someone I'm meeting later in London. He said, my train had to divert. I had to go to Wales before going into London. It just made me laugh because
as long as he wasn't coming from bloody Milton Keynes.
No. Yeah, just maybe I don't know why it made me think. I was like, oh shit, see you in London. He's like, I'll be there soon. I'm still at home. I'm hours from London. So yeah, Rory being caught out, I just thought it was funny. I did think it was very, very funny indeed. But I've got a question for the audience, and I got a question. This is my favorite clip of the week that's coming up next, because I'm so glad to see proper United people, proper United legends speaking the truth about the club. But the question is to the audience, who do you want to win the league, Arsenal or City?
Who do you two want to see win it?
Arsenal.
Really? You and Arsenal were like that, mate, and their fans are just going to be,
unbearable.
I mean, no one's
I think it's done now, isn't it?
But when you look at our choices,
I
City, Liverpool,
I know.
not so much Liverpool this year. Arsenal, it's got to be Arsenal.
Well, I thought you'd want. I know it sounds crazy saying City.
No.
God, that's bonkers. That's the last team you'd want to win it.
A fucking Manchester
all
team.
All the Scousers, all my cop,
we hate City.
Manchester City. What's fucking... Paddy McGuinness is meant to support Man United, isn't he? What's he on?
Well, mate, honestly, I do think social media is rotting people's brains, because for me, this is the message I've been putting out also. I keep getting, how can you as a United fan want Arsenal to win? I'm like, because City are our bigger rivals. What's going on here?
I mean, I'm giving a bit of a spoiler away here, because there was a lot of either ors on this show that's coming out next week, and it's not on my channel, so fuck it. And I think I've been paid already. But the reality is, one of the questions was, would you rather Arsenal win the league or City win the league? And I'm not going to give anything away, but like I've already said multiple times on my channel, Arsenal. But it surprised me because the vast majority went the other side. There was me and one other who was an Arsenal fan. So I was like, they're all going, what are you? It was a bit like that with Scholes. They were like, what are you doing over there? And I was like, they said, I'm not taking the piss. This is like easy for me. If it's Arsenal or anybody else win the league, it was basically the question was, would you rather Arsenal win the league or they bottle it? But I was like, but they're not bottling it to Man United. They're not bottling it to bloody Villa. They'll be bottling it to Man City. So it's Man City or Arsenal. And then they're going, oh, yeah, but Man City have got no history. Arsenal fans are going to be unbearable. Well, they're not inviting me down, are they? They're not going to go, Goldbridge. Like, I'll turn the telly off. It's very easy. I did it when bloody Aguero scored. It went off for 3 months. But yeah, look, Liverpool and Man City are a bigger rival than Arsenal. That's it. It's not the 90s.
Yeah.
The late 90s, I probably would choose Man City because they were irrelevant, but not now.
Yeah, for me, it's not even about the rivalry is a big part of it, but it's also the legacy element and Pep winning another Premier League. The media's already trying to push better than Fergie, better than any of his teams, better than this, lying about what he did. The more they win, the more they can push that narrative. And I've said it all along. There's only two types of Man United fans that will want Arsenal to win, and it's the ones who I think are a little bit emotionally unstable, and social media have become their life. And they can't come off it. And they do. There's more Arsenal fans than City fans, so it's going to be unbearable. And they can't handle that because they can't put the phone down. And the other individuals, I just don't think know enough about Manchester United. I don't love the club enough. As simple as that for me.
You remember these days because we've been around for a long time. If I go back to prime AFTV days, you know, the moany twats who wanted Wenger out, right? You know, your Troops, your DTs, your Moes, your bloody what's his name? Forgot his name. Little
Ty.
Rest in peace, Claude. All these great characters at a time where AFTV was in its prime. Robbie. Even with them lot, I'd still say Arsenal over Man City. Even with them, because I'd be like, so fucking what? They're going to be there going to Goldbridge and all that. I don't care. I'd still do it because I just can't pick Man City or Liverpool. I'm not from Manchester, but Manchester City is still your local rival. And as a lot of people in the chat are saying, it's not just that as well. Man City have won a lot of titles. It's Pep versus Sir Alex. It's legacy and all this bollocks. Liverpool are our absolute sworn biggest rival. And Arsenal, look, in the 90s, I couldn't stand them, the late 90s. I respect them now, but in the late 90s, early noughties, couldn't stand them. Proper rivalry, Vieira Keane, Sir Alex Wenger. Every year, that's a proper rivalry. But we don't have that with Arsenal now. They've not won it in 20 years. So maybe in 3 or 4 years' time, if Arsenal keep winning it, I might go, I don't want them to win it. But right here, right now, I mean, it's sad as a United fan, isn't it, Terry? Because it's the same with the Champions League. You sort of like go, I wouldn't mind a Premier League side winning it because we're meant to be the best league in the world. But which Premier League side? It can't be Liverpool.
Well, I
don't want Man City, but I can probably live with Chelsea doing it again. You know, something like that.
With Chelsea knows. Chelsea is a no for me because if someone's going to win it from the Premier League, I want it to be a team that hasn't won it before because then they're only on one. Where with Chelsea, if they win it,
Arsenal double.
Arsenal, Spurs, or Newcastle, if one is to win it.
Arsenal treble can happen. I don't want that. I don't want that.
See, then, exactly, this is when it all changes. So say Arsenal win the FA Cup and the Premier League and they're in the Champions League final against, say, the hardest conundrum is Champions League final, Arsenal versus Chelsea. Arsenal won the FA Cup and the league. If Arsenal win, it's a treble. But if they Chelsea win, they've got the same amount of Champions Leagues as us. 3.
But I don't really care about that, you know, because Liverpool
you don't care about that. Okay.
So many. I think the European Cup for Man United is so important because of Munich and the 10 years to go and win it with Samat, which we did. That one for me is worth 10. And Real Madrid have won about 50, haven't they? So United's relationship with the European Cup isn't about quantity. It's about the story. And it's like Sir Alex Ferguson in 99 after not winning it for so many years. So I'm comfortable with that 3. I want to win more. You've got to be in it to win it, though, ain't you? That's the problem.
I hear that. How do you think tonight's going to go? How do you think the semi-final tonight, Arsenal, Chelsea, how do you think it plays out?
I'm really excited about it. I think I'm really excited about it. I think Chelsea under Rosenior have been really impressive. I thought the second half was brilliant at the weekend. I thought the first leg was good. I thought the game at Stamford Bridge in the league was really good. I think if Chelsea goes strong and they can get their best players on the pitch, especially like Reece James, Enzo and Cole Palmer, leave Garnacho on the bench, I think it could be a really good game. Fiery as well. Yeah, I think Arsenal should be able to get over the line, but I think it would be a good game. I won't be surprised if we get a red card for Chelsea, though.
Really? Yeah, I see that. I get where you're coming from. They have had some real sort of big bad discipline issues, haven't they? In this city, they get a lot of yellow cards. Like if Caicedo gets a yellow card early, it could definitely be a problem for him. But I'm a bit like you. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be high goal scoring. I think Chelsea might actually score first as well in this game. I was thinking of saying this yesterday on the Top 6 show that I feel that it's good. You remember the semi-final, the 09-10 season, Man United, Man City? think they won 2-1 at the Etihad, and then we came back and we won 3-1 at Old Trafford. Rooney with a last-minute header. I get a feeling it's going to be a bit of a game similar to that, where I think it's going to ebb and flow. There'll be times where it's drawing, maybe Arsenal go ahead, maybe even Chelsea go ahead. But I think it's going to be a really open, expansive and attacking game. There's no way Chelsea are going to sit back and try and defend. Arsenal can be vulnerable when teams get at them, but equally, if you give Arsenal space, we've seen what they can do to teams when you give them space. They can hurt you. They're as deadly. This is the reason why everybody sits back against them, because they're so deadly. I can't wait. What about Garnacho? Well, if Garnacho plays, Arsenal will definitely get through. Definitely going through.
Timber will destroy him if Timber starts. I mean, Wan-Bissaka absolutely bullied him, didn't he? I don't watch Chelsea as much as Chelsea fans, but it seems to me a lot of goals this season. You see Chelsea fans on X going, why is Garnacho not marking him? Why is Garnacho not tracking him? He's really bad, like really bad.
Oh, mate, I was watching. It's what he does. And do you know, sometimes when it's a player at your own club, sometimes when they're at another person's club and you've got no emotion attached to the review or the analysis at all, you see different things. It's the way he doesn't defend. I kind of got why Messi and Ronaldo, from maybe the age of 25 to like their late 30s and beyond, they didn't defend. And it's because the net positive was so strong in their favor. They're like, I don't care. But he's in defensive positions and then just let someone run off him and doesn't care. And it's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. It really, really is crazy to see, in my personal opinion, how poor he has been for them. Scored some goals, yes, but it's not even, sometimes his touch is bad, his cross is bad. But as you say, it's the way he works in the system. It's just so open. I think he's been a part of the reason that Cucurella's had some bad games this year as well, not to try and deflect from him, but terrible. DJ here says we need to score early and capable of doing so as well. We will be a tough game. Arsenal have home record is impressive. Garnacho can't start this game. Big mistake if he does. Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. It will be a very, very interesting one indeed. Sorry, I was reading a weird comment and I didn't get it, but it didn't make any sense. Sometimes you get that in your comment where people are talking to each other and you start reading it, think it'll be an interesting take, and you're like, the fuck are you talking about?
You just realise they're having a chat with themselves.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense there. I wanted to ask you as well, it's kind of related to the Arsenal subject slightly, but it goes into Pep. Do you think this is it for Pep now? Do you feel that if Arsenal win this league title this season, do you think he's going to quit? Do you think he's going to walk away?
I saw something yesterday from Matt Law about the potential candidates, and obviously we know that Maresca, when it came out, was it David Ornstein who said that he'd been spoken to by Man City? Somebody of credibility.
Yes,
did.
it was Ornstein originally. Yeah.
So I think it's funny. I was talking to a City fan yesterday, and I said, "Do you think your points coincidentally? Do you think you've started dropping points since that story came out about Maresca? Because if you're a player, you sort of like go, does that mean Pep's going then?" And we saw what happened when Klopp said he was going in January, and he was like, "No, we're just an inexperienced team that doesn't know how to win." And I was like, I don't know. I really thought Pep was going to go last summer, and I think they may have just given him a load of money to say, "Give it another year. We're not ready to go for a manager." I think they had a manager in mind last summer, and it might have been Amram, to be fair, but it didn't happen. And so they basically chucked a bit of money at Pep for 2 years. Well, he's not going to go into his final year anyway, is he? So I always thought 2 years is basically 1 year because you've got your buffer then. So I think he's probably going to go in the summer. And I think he's probably ready to go. I think he looked absolutely exhausted this time last year. The scratching of the head, etc. So I just think he will go in the summer. Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah. I'm glad. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm very, very, very glad if and when it happens. I'm glad to see the back of him. I don't care about good or bad for the English game because he is a threat when he's in his pomp, when he's firing. His teams are brilliant. And the great thing is, I mean, what's the likelihood of City having a manager as good as him again? Really unlikely. If he really is the greatest or one of the greatest, same with Man United. I don't think in our lifetime we'll ever have a manager as good as him again, because how likely is it that you do that? So the great thing is about him going is City will still win some trophies, still win some leagues, Champions Leagues over the next 10, 20 years. But I don't think they'll have a period like they had under him again, mainly because Man United have only had a couple. Liverpool had a couple. Not many teams in the last 60, 70 years of English football have had a period like that. So the likelihood of a new guy coming in and doing the exact same thing, I feel is quite low.
Who do you think it will be?
City
will know. I think City will know now.
I've got a feeling it's going to be. I'm going with the Enzo Maresca one. If I'm going to put a bet on it, it could be Xabi Alonso. But the Enzo Maresca thing, as much as I know he had some problems in the dress with the ownership at Chelsea, the way that all felt to me, it was as if he was relatively happy, but then a better offer came along. He caused a bit of a stir, got himself sacked. So he's ready and available to accept this role. It all and that way, it sort of, I don't know how to word this in the right way, but it was too neat and tidy from that link, falling out, mouthing off, sacked, free and available. Pep's going to quit. I think Maresca's got a really, really good chance of walking in there and being the manager, because I think what City are looking at is, I think they're partly looking at what Liverpool have done wrong. They brought in Slot, who kept everything very much the same that Klopp did. The party continued. They won the league. They changed everything, system, style, training, new types of players, and have fallen off the edge of a cliff in terms of title challenging. And that's the last thing City need to do. If they go for someone who's very different, plays different, coaches different, wants different types of profiles of players, if there's this mass change, we did it wrong. It's not even about Moisey. What should have happened is everything should have stayed the same. It should have been a new head coach, same coaching staff, same target, same style of football. The fact we just allowed Moyes to come in and go on, mate, do whatever you want with this. Like, I know we had problems with the Glazers and money, but we were a well-oiled machine in terms of the footballing operation. The fact that we let like 3 or 4 managers on the bounce come in and just play with it and do what they want was, when you look back at it now, was so stupid. That, Moisey was able to come in and go, I'm getting rid of all your coaches that helped to coach a title-winning team, and I'm bringing in my lads who have finished 4th once. If you just say it out loud, it's crazy. So I think City are looking for continuity. So yeah, Enzo Maresca right now would be my bet, but I wouldn't sleep on Xabi Alonso. That could be one for him.
I think Slot's going to probably finish highest of 5th or maybe 4th and go out of the Champions League and not win anything. I think they'll get rid of him and bring Alonso in. And I think that City, I just think Vincent Kompany is just such an open, obvious goal. Like, an ex-player has done playing brilliant football at Bayern. Harry Kane surrounded by quick players. Erling Haaland surrounded by quick players. I just think Vincent Kompany makes a lot of sense.
It's a great shout. It's a great shout, Vincent Kompany. Yeah.
But I do agree with you about Maresca. But this is the thing, isn't it? With Man United, we're like, are we going to go down the Carrick route, which is a bit like Ollie? Are we going to go down the De Zerbi route, which is a bit like Ten Hag? Or are we actually going to go and try and get one of the best managers in the world like Luis Enrique? Whereas Liverpool, with Man City, we just know they're going to go and get the right choice. And it could be Maresca. It could be Vincent Kompany. It could be Alonso.
Yeah, I do get that.
Could be Enrique.
But Vincent Kompany is an interesting one, because although, look, Michael Carrick did a good job with Middlesbrough. I feel like his time there was a little bit marred by the fact that people forget that every summer they got rid of all these best players. They brought in players that were scoring 20, like tracking towards 30 league goals, and then boom, gone into January and stuff like that, which don't help anybody. But sometimes you've also got to look at Kompany. Kompany got relegated from the from the Premier League, went to Bayern Munich, is killing it, and now because he's at Bayern Munich and doing well, it's looked at as, oh, he's ready to go into another big club. Where if Michael Carrick would have got the Bayern Munich job, because I think Michael Carrick is a competent enough coach and manager to win the German league with Bayern Munich and the French league with PSG, because I just feel that those teams have such a monopoly over I just think you've got to be a competent coach. Does that make sense? Even the bad coaches at those clubs that get sacked still invariably win the league. So that's where I think with something, I'm not taking anything away from Luis Enrique. He is the elite. He is my number one choice that I would like to see come in. Absolutely, I would. At the same time, though, it's the Vincent Kompany one is still a risk, because we saw, I am comparing it. Gerrard was invincible in Scotland and looked like an amazing manager. He came to the Prem and he got Aston Villa relegated. Vincent Kompany, it's a different challenge coming to the Premier League, because he's not going to have it all his own way, and he's not going to have a team. Sorry,
that City job's going to be hard because they're
Very
not
hard.
going to win. They're not going to win the title by probably 10 points. I don't think they'll win the Champions League. So it's not like Jurgen Klopp left Liverpool and you could see the foundations and they weren't that far off. I think with Man City, there's still a lot of work to be done. Just don't know whether Maresca. I think Vincent Kompany's a little bit more attacking than Maresca, and I think Man City have got so many good attackers that look, be interesting. Look, Man City have got good choices. It's about making the right good choice, isn't it? Man United, there's some shit choices in there, and it's about hoping they don't make the shit choice.
No, I agree. A few super chats here. This is a hi Terry, not a City fan, but as much as you don't like Pep, it's not that I don't like. I've never said I don't like Pep. Rate Pep. Never call him a checkbook manager. I never say he only relies on money. I never say what he's done isn't special. I never said that once. So I've never said a single negative thing about his legacy ever. All I've ever said is I'm disappointed. The one things I wanted to see him do, and I've said it before City, is I'd love to see him taking over a fallen giant like an AC Milan and making the best team in the world again. I also would have loved to have seen him take over a team that isn't meant to win, implement his style and philosophy like a Porto, and turn them into champions of Europe. That because he hasn't done that, doesn't take away from what he has achieved. That's all I've ever really said. Yes, I'm criticising him this year and last year in the Prem because he's done some bad things, but I've never once said I didn't like him. You can't help but admire his record. Absolutely do. Never slagged it off once. Never call him a checkbook manager because I think when you spend big money, the pressure to win increases, and that winning under that pressure is a massive achievement. Absolutely is. I'm a United fan from Kent. Big up, Kent. What part of Kent? Please don't tell me it's Chatham. Don't tell me it's Chatham. I don't want Arsenal or Chelsea winning it. Maybe it's just where I'm from. United versus Arsenal early 2000s is what I grew up on. See, I understand that. My pushback is the thing with eras is if I go by what I grew up with, I can understand that too, right? That Arsenal United rivalry, I think, is it was the biggest catalyst into making the Premier League what it is today. What I won't do, though, is allow my own experiences and what I've gone through to stop me learning the history of my football club, you know? So there are lots of things that have happened before I was born in this world that I still pay homage and respect to now, even though I didn't live them, because your history is important. And understanding the rivalry between Man United and Manchester City, I think, is a fundamental part of becoming a Man United fan. I don't think we can pick and choose. I think when you choose a club to support, you adopt every facet of its culture, its rivalries, and everything that's embodied with it. I don't think it can just be, I'm a Man United fan, but I don't mind City. They're all right because they're from Manchester. Like Paddy McGuinness said, I don't think we can do that, to be honest with you. But I hear you see it differently. You are two of the most knowledgeable creators on football on social media. Oh, thank you, Nicholas. Yeah, we are. Mark knows more than me, but that's it. Terry equals Walter White. Mark equals Pinkman from Breaking Bad. I'd probably go the other way around. I'm a little bit more of a live wire than Mark. Mark's a bit more sensible than me, but he has a mean streak that I don't have. Do you know what I'm saying? That if you know Breaking Bad, you know Breaking Bad. And I mean that in a nice way, Mark. Don't whack me.
I'd rather be Walter.
Yeah. What was legendary? Mark, you are a very funny man, is what Nicholas says here as well.
Thank you.
There we go.
It has been said before.
Liverpool are sneaky fucks, releasing a puff piece round table the day after a poor window with the CEO Hughes and Slot in short telling fans to calm down.
I haven't seen this. Oh. I'm surprised they didn't do anything yesterday. To try to basically they've done this twice now, Liverpool. So we need a centre back. We're signing Gehi. Last day of the window, falls apart. We need a right back. We're signing Gertruda, falls apart, and you end up with either. So I'd be a little bit worried if I was a Liverpool fan, because not getting Gehi at the start of the season has damaged you, and not getting a right back might damage you. But your club also, like from a United point of view, we need a midfielder. They didn't bloody try and buy one. So we're sort of sat there going, we need a midfielder, but they didn't try and buy one. With Liverpool, you need a centre back. They tried to buy one, they didn't get one. You need a right back. They tried to sign one, and then didn't bother. So it'd be interesting to see how that pans out now, because I actually thought that getting a right back was an intelligent move, because it frees up Szoboszlai in the midfield.
I agree. Two strong midfielders is a non-negotiable next summer. Yeah, bare minimum, absolutely bare minimum. I absolutely agree. Owners don't understand we need squad depth again going forward. We absolutely do, especially if we're back in the Champions League. And if we come to this summer and we have 3 or 4 leave, only buy 3 or 4, we're in absolute trouble. And we should all be on top of that 110%. I had a clip I was going to play from Laura Kirk, but I'm going to save it to next week. It'll still be relevant. It'll still be relevant next week. I want to thank everybody that's tuned into the show today. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. The United stand back at 2 p.m. today.
You should play the clip.
It's quite long.
All right.
We can play it. We'll play it. We'll play it. Hang on. This is what Laura Kirk had. There's an interesting take. Let's do it.
Will become boring, or have we all collectively rotted our brains and our attention spans so much that we can no longer sit through 90+ minutes of football? This is a sentiment that we've heard a lot this season. People saying that they no longer enjoy football, they find it boring. Now, I suspect some of that is a way of discrediting the fact that Arsenal are top, and we all know we can't be sensible when it comes to talking about Arsenal. But the average number of goals has remained the same, so there's not fewer goals per game. And the number of 0-0 draws is still trending downwards. Slight uptick this season, but it has overall dropped. So for me, the game is not more boring. Now, the reason I mention this is because on the Today programme, of which I am an avid listener, I'm an Amal Rajan ultra. Today they were discussing phone addiction, screen addiction, and what that does to things like our attention span. But my hypothesis is we as a collective have such bad addictions to scrolling and a preference for short clips that we can no longer pay attention for 90 minutes. Because if you think about when you're scrolling, when you see something that doesn't interest you or bores you, you scroll. Now, you can't do that watching football, obviously. We are forced to sit through large patches where, yeah, nothing happens, but that has always been the case. And so we're dedicating all this time to going, how do we change the game to make it more exciting? I'm really of the opinion that actually it's us, the viewer, who has changed, and we can no longer concentrate properly because we have rotted our brains with social media. And I think some of that comes back to we're so addicted to the stimulus dopamine response cycle that we get from our phones. We don't get that from football anymore because there are long patches where nothing happens.
I think she's got a point, and I think it's easily solved. As a avid watcher of the Bundesliga on a Friday night on That's Football, and anybody who watches it with me will know this, the game is so much better to watch, and you can't believe how quick the halves go. And basically the reason for it is that the referees are so good in the Bundesliga and the players are so used to it in the Bundesliga that when the ball goes out for a throw-in or a goal kick, it's instantly back in. When it's a free kick, it's instantly on. They get the game flow. And in the Premier League, you get a throw-in, you can go make a cup of tea. It takes them about half an hour to take a throw-in. Arsenal takes them about half an hour. A player goes down. Oh, the worst one I hate is when the right back's in the corner of his own half, and the striker goes near them and they fall over and it's a free kick, and you're like, oh, yeah. Fuck, But it's then they don't get up and take the free kick quickly. They go, oh, how's my hair? Oh, yeah, how are we doing? It takes about. This is a huge problem. So she's right, but it can be fixed. It's not just the fact that it's 90 minutes and we have short attention spans. It's the fact that the Premier League is so stop-start. And when I watched the Bundesliga on a Friday night, this was not what I expected. I thought, we'll get more goals. There's more goals in the Bundesliga. The atmospheres will be better, which they are. But the game flow is so much quicker. And the Premier League needs to do something about it, because these are high-end fitness, physical fitness players. When it's a free kick, the referee should be... There's no reason for the referee when it's a throw-in to go, oh, yeah, so I'll have a rest. It'd be like, let's get on with the fucking game. Get on with the game. Get on with the game. Get on with the game. So I think that's true. But also there is a massive increase in 0-0s. And also she hasn't mentioned, probably because she's an Arsenal fan, booting it long from kickoffs, fouling goalkeepers on corners and long throw-ins is Stoke and Wimbledon. And we ridiculed this when we were growing up, and it's now being used by the top six. So that is also a fair point. So there's a combination of the three. Short attention spans, lack of game flow, and some of the football we're seeing is a little bit Stokey.
Yeah, there's definitely an element in there. I thought it was funny what Liam Rosenior said this week, which was that they were, oh, you don't do long throws. He went, oh, yeah. He went, only because I don't have any players that can throw it that far, which I thought was such a great response from... It was actually really grinding on Liam Rosenior.
There is an antidote, Terry. Imagine if there's a team that's so fit that when it's a throw-in, they just get the ball and throw it quick. Or when it's imagine if a manager said, every fucking team in the Premier League slows the game down. We're gonna go quick. Like when it's a free kick, don't be fucking rolling around. Get the ball, go quick. When it's a throw in, don't be fucking getting the towel. Let's move it. Let's up the tempo. Because everyone does it in the last 10 minutes, don't they? When you're losing 1-0 in the last 2 minutes, loads of chances get created. Why? Because people get the ball and they're like, let's go. Yeah.
I agree, but what that also needs is the refs. How many times do you see quick free kicks taken and the referees blow the whistle and go, no, I want it to be slowed down? It's ridiculous. I think there's a mixture in there, but I've always been someone that wanted certain. I know what Laura's saying about not changing the game, but there's certain things I would change. So for instance, for me, every throw in, every free kick, every goal kick, I just set a time limit on it. They've done it now with the goalies holding onto the ball for 8 seconds, but I'm really up for big punishment. So you get a goal kick, you get 20 seconds max to take it, or it's a penalty. That just stops time wasting straight away, because there's no mileage now. Because the amount of times we've seen this, you get to the 85th minute of a game, ball goes out for a goal kick. Sometimes it isn't kicked back onto the pitch until the 87th minute. And you sit there and think, how have they just been able to waste a whole minute of the game? And look, when you're 2 or 3-0 up, you want that happening. But no, I don't. So I do agree with what Laura's saying to a degree here, which is I feel that the dopamine element is true as well. Like if we don't get that world-class goal, if we don't get that game I see it in my other sports that I love, like boxing and in MMA, and I'm massive on this when it comes to martial arts and MMA, because I feel everyone's played football to a certain degree. Does that make sense? Most people haven't even sparred full contact, let alone had a full contact fight. So their understanding of fighting is so limited compared to what they can know about football. But I see people I just love the fights when they're just going hell for leather and knocking each other out. And there is an entertainment element to that. But for me, sometimes the fights can look boring, but they're really skilled when they're on the floor grappling and this type of thing. And I don't want the sport to change where MMA gets rid of that, because the casual fan just wants an end-to-end slugfest. And I'm a bit like that with football. I used to love some of our games against Chelsea when they were at their pomp, and so were we, that were really close, 1-0s, 1-1s, but they were like chess matches. I get quite excited about that in terms of who is going to solve the puzzle first. And I know not everybody enjoys that, to be fair, and I'm open to it, but that makes me excited. I don't just need high-octane, fast-paced, end-to-end football. I'm a bit of a mixture on that. I'm a bit of a mixed bag.
The thing is as well, I mean, look, I don't actually agree with a lot of what she's saying when I think about it, because football isn't as good as it used to be. And it's not because people have short attention spans. We've just listed off a load of reasons, like lots of people are taking corners and long throw-ins now, and the game is very stop-start. But you think about what gets a crowd excited. If we were running, if we were in charge of the Premier League and we were running a focus group now as a live focus group, I would expect someone to say, well, let's strip it back. What's the thing that gets everybody excited, whether they're in the ground or sat there with their phone? What's going to stop them swiping their phone and watch the screen? Well, people love people who take 3 or 4 people on. People love people who score a goal like Cunha did against Arsenal. People love a strong tackle. People love it when people square up to each other and stuff like that. So are we making the game have that more or less? And the game is 2 stop start. If you have a tackle that goes in and it's like a bit 50-50 and you go play on, and then someone else does one and you go play on, the crowd react to that and it's entertainment, isn't it? We slow the game. We're slowing the game down. We're not letting the game flow.
I agree. That Kobe Mainu tackle on Jimenez.
Yeah,
you get the commentator going, he's taking him out. No, it was a great tackle, and we need more of that in the game, not less of it. I completely and utterly agree with that point of view. And I'm all up for games that make the game rules faster. I mean, with the corners, I think something is going to come in. I think they're going to bring in a rule soon where the attacking team can't have a player in the 6-yard box before the corner's taken. I think they're going to make a rule along those lines soon to stop the goalkeepers from being able to I think they're going to do it, because it's just got to a stage now where, I mean, it's funny, no one cared when everyone was doing it to David De Gea. That's the only bit I'm a bit bitter about. When De Gea was being bullied for about 3 seasons and he used to struggle in that regard, everyone celebrated it. Arsenal are now winning games through it, and everyone wants the rules changed. I feel a little bit hard done by, if I'm being honest, but that's just me. Listen, everybody, thank you all so much for tuning into the show. Always means a great deal to us when you guys are here. I'm back at around 3 p.m. today for Straight Facts with Igal and LB. Make sure you're watching the United Stand at 2 p.m. They will be live, and I assume you'll be live at 7 p.m. tonight on the United Stand.
Yeah, because obviously got the
Watch along.
Carabao watch along. Yeah.
There we go. So 7 p.m. to go watch Mark on the United stand. Make sure you're there. Until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you soon. Peace.